Good morning, everyone. So we all know the economic report was out, jobs report, and that's what it is. So we had this sell setup coming into today. Where over the last several days, markets couldn't get through this 3,800 level, 380 on the spiders here, and at the end of the day, little back off, which wasn't really a big deal. And so now we have this reaction where it's lower. I don't think it would have went much higher anyway, but when you have a pattern like this, there were more in stocks that were probably better looking with this sideways consolidation. If it could have cleared the highs, could have popped a bit higher, but it didn't. So now we're down below the lows, and where are we? Just measuring here the crosshairs down near that bottoming tail bar. You can see when I'm moving the crosshair, you can see it moves. The horizontal one is in the area of the bottoming tail bar on the daily, and the open. Actually, that tail is wrong, right? I don't know what created that bad tick there, but you can see on the hourly chart, it's in the gap fill. Right? The upper left-hand chart, the crosshair is right there into that gap fill. So it ripped down, right? Waterfall down into the void below and stopped right on that area of support. Of course, now will it stop there? Well, for the moment, but when you have a move like this with such momentum, typically this is the first one down, so you could look at that as being climactic. It's going to bounce. I mean, unless you're like really a ninja to go in there for like a few ticks, you don't do that because the momentum hasn't stalled at all. And a vertical move like this suggests it's going to go lower. Right? So it just reached a technical level, and which is right there. And it stabilized. Right? It's first reference point. So that's the reaction to what was to the left. Now, there isn't a lot to stop this from going down. So it's really going to get interesting throughout the day as to whether these can create some support where there really isn't much of anything. Because you had this really, pretty powerful move. It isn't a downtrend. We spoke about this during the week where, like, when you get an initial move up, and if we look at the futures, you see two wide range bars. And another, it was the gap up day, which was a significant gap. I think it was about 1.5%. And then it continued higher into this resistance area right there. And if it was really a bullish market, and maybe not waiting for pending news, but in a bullish market, maybe they wouldn't care about the news. It would have went up yesterday through here into this area up above. Clearly, it didn't get there. So heading lower. I say it stalled here for the moment. And whether it'll go down, because what is this weekly chart going to look like? That's what I'm wondering. Meaning, does this turn into a topping tail? And then we have a continuation pattern. So as we talk about these momentum moves, like, this one and this one and this one, and, even the different time frames, different momentum moves where we look at angles that prices come down and wide range bars and where the momentum slows. And so this week, obviously, we had this reversal. And should this turn into a topping tail bar, this is the beginning of a move, right? So this was the beginning of a turn, right? A turn after a strong up move. Remember this point in time, right? It took out the pivot high, strength, broke the back of this downward trend on the weekly time frame. So the typical first pullback, normal pullback, got a reversal, buyer stepped up, and it went down. And it went down strong, right? Vertical. And so here, this is greater than 100% retracement concept. So we were anticipating buying stepping up here. You go back and look at the videos last week. And so it happens, and now if this turns into a topping tail bar, it's going to be in aligned with the monthly time frame. Right? Those of you on the advisory letter, go back and look at the video from 2 weeks ago. So this is lining up with the monthly, right? Whereas I'm going, what time is it? I got time here to talk with this and long-term analysis. So this is multiple time frame analysis as we do it, right? So we get biases from different time frames. So just because I have a monthly bias suggesting prices can go lower, that doesn't mean we can't trade a short-term movement on the daily time frame at the appropriate moment with those patterns and market internals. So now on the monthly, we have this continuation pattern and wide range bar down. So the idea is, right, if you remember, those of you that are listening for a long time, when we get a wide range bar, factory works stay in the lower 50%, which is what this has done, which is still in aligned with this bearish point of view. Now, all right, so this could be like a 1, 2, 3, right? If it breaks next week, and the weekly time frame, let's go back to the weekly, this turns into a topping tail bar, which is a signal for a continuation pattern lower after this first move down. So unless this market has a miracle recovery today, right, assuming, let's just say it just closes down here, which we have to see at the end of the day, next week could be ugly, right? Because that we would have alignment now of the daily, right, the weekly, and the monthly. So it could be an ugly week next week. So look, this is what I see right now. At the end of the day, we could be seeing a giant green bar up here, and I'm like, oh my God, look at that, how it recovered. But we have to see how bars end. It's the same thing on it's a 5-minute chart, but we wait to the end of the 5 minutes before seeing that. So let's today we've got this momentum move lower. It's on news. Let's see if the momentum stalls or begins to slow down. And where is, okay, so the 15-minute chart, it's already down below this area, right? It's down here. It's down here. So we got a whole giant area intraday of overhead supply now. So the gap down, maybe, in another 20 minutes, or maybe it's down here, it'll initially get bought because of the void above. So it'll be probably kind of wild there at the open. But this is a momentum move down and potentially having multiple time frames lined up for next week. We'll see how this all unfolds. All right, so time for aggressive shorting. I don't like the word aggressive. I don't know how you, Norbert, mean that, which I would not say if your typical position size or risk is $500, making it $2,000. I wouldn't do that. But I would use the terminology more aggressive with the appropriate patterns. Right. Facebook user, you know what, if you know what, I'm going to get, there's a thing, so those on Facebook, there's something you can do so that your name shows up, which would be great. I'll post it next time. Okay, so this don't look like such a big deal on the S&Ps. This move down, but it is coming down to the bottom of this wide range bar. Remember, so here's the two wide range bars. It doesn't look such a big deal. This bar is a baby. It's a baby. It's an infancy stage. It's not done today. If it's down here, it's going to look like something. McGraw's here. I don't know. Okay, so wide range bar. It's into the void. It's into this little support there. Not much of a big deal to really hold things, and there's plenty of room to drop. All right, so that's there. Let me go back here again. It's here. So SPX, it's around here. All right, so 3,800, yes. You know what? It's moving down. I wrote down 37.95, Jacob, because 38 didn't have it. Had some. I guess it's not bad. 60 by 70. But I wrote down 37.95, but 38 is a more, the whole number and all that. It's hard to imagine it could get back up there. So totally agree with call spread at that level. Down below. So I would wait for down below. The upside you could do at the open. Down below, because it looks like it could go lower. And like if you could get premium below 3,600, which there isn't right now, but if it continues to drop, so 3610 has 60 by 65, 60 by 70, or 3615, 70 by 85. But I'd much prefer to be below 3,600. Thinking it's going to come. Well, it's gapping down here. Could it get down there? It could. So the upside is the no-brainer. That's the no-brainer with a gap down here. Right. So even if it could stabilize and come up, it's got to get through that pivot and it's got to eat through this. So I don't think any miracles coming, or the governor's calling to turn off the electric chair here for longs. So we'll assess the downside as it unfolds. I mean, you could do 37.90. Yeah, I think so. All right. Let me go through the other markets. Qs, going down, same pattern. Where are the Qs gapping? That was a little more bearish. Notice how this takes out the high. It was stronger and then forms the tail. And it's gapping down now. Same thing into the gap fill. Yeah. YM down 200 and something. Right, so same patterns, same things. Things beginning to stabilize here. Here's a little shelf of support, right there. Do I have a green template? I do. Turn that green. So there's a little support there, and not doing much of anything. The 10-year inching up. Yeah, not a big deal. 5-year. And so those are going up. Markets are going down. Dollar. Right. A week ago, we talked about this making the turn because it was in an uptrend, and that was going to be a problem for the market. And obviously it has been, because this has been the focus. Dollar and interest rates. And silver down a little bit. What's that resistance? So now crude oil had this big move up. Now it's up at this prior pivot high. This should turn back down. Well, we see the momentum stalled yesterday. Small candle body. Now it's up here today, and what we would be looking for is for this to hang up here and see if it rolls back over. A strong move. So, back here, as this was going down, if you listen to my prior, conversation pre-market, I was like, I don't see any reason why this thing isn't going down to $70. And now we got a wide range bar on the weekly chart. So it's into resistance. Saudis said they were going to cut production. This is a supply demand thing on an absolute level. And, they're not a fan of Sleepy Joe's, what you're saying. And he went there begging, and they just kicked him to the curb. So he went to Venezuela now. He's lucky to get out of there without, them taking his wallet. All right. So, just based on this pattern, we got a strong retracement. It doesn't mean it'll keep going up. If it could, if it had a breakout failure, clearing these highs and come back in, that should start to move down. But you got to respect the depth of the retracement. Is North Korea next? I don't think they would talk. I don't think they'll talk to Sleepy Joe. I think they put him in a nuke and shoot him off. Same story here. I'm sure that's going to be gapping down. And so at this point, we look at what's gapping. That's what Dan will do. What's gapping up, what's gapping down, what's maybe showing some relative strength or not. And we'll see where things end today. Well, yours, Dan. Oh yeah, the pot thing. Wasn't that wild yesterday? Wouldn't you like to have known? I bet you Hunter knew. Hunter's going to need some legal fee money. I bet you Hunter knew the marijuana stocks were going to pop yesterday. Maybe he had some calls. Joe letting everybody out of prison. Take it away, Dan.
Yeah. All right, don't get me started. Yeah, I was mentioning Kyle Bass. I actually met him through David Tice in Dallas. He's a fund manager, and he was just crashing the Biden administration on oil here. He's like, your head is up your, I'm not going to even, you can watch it yourself, but I couldn't have said it better myself. All right, so we did a great job trading the turn. Last night's video, I said day trade long over the high, day trade short under the low, and possibly swing short. It had two inside bars, so that would have been a red bar ignored if it took it out. We obviously have the data now. We've been adding some trades and been trailing a bunch of them. So we have a lighter inventory today than we did a day and two ago. And I put a bunch on my list saying, no, I'm not going to touch them until we get this employment number for this very reason. So we'll have to play defense on a couple put spreads, a couple trailing stops. We're in trail mode on some beautiful open gains. Win, Builder, Lily, great. So I have no problem just start taking 5-minute low on the trailing gains. So I got my alarms. We'll play it by ear at the open here. Let's see what I have here. AMD is rocking the semis today and the NASDAQ, more so than the others. And a second profit warning, a second one. And I forget the exact day. I think it was right here at the 50 MA. Somebody in the green room, it was somewhere around here. Somebody in the green room asked me if this was a core long setup. And we went through daily, weekly, monthly, and we said absolutely not. There was, it might have been the start that this weekly higher low, but then there was no follow through, of course. It all started here with this 180 reversal right there. So NVIDIA. Yesterday, I was playing defense on put spreads, as I always do. And when we had that beautiful morning pop on NVIDIA, I had move stop to break even, and it stopped out break even. So this is a bullet we're dodging so far. It was the 120s. So if you're still in it, any put spreads, 30-minute low if it's gapping under it. I just glanced over at Rambus. We're in trail mode. We have a third left, so 5-minute low on that. So AMD was saying slower demand in PCs. So remember Wednesday we talked about how do you trade news? All right, well AMD is going to get whacked. It should. What if AMD was gapping up on that warning? Then the 100% reaction would be, all right, well, whatever they said, the market expected worse. But it was a second warning, so obviously the market was not prepared for it. But chips go into PCs, so let's look at Dell. And that was a sell setup, but there's nothing to do with it right now, so you just got to move on. Hey, Rohak, good morning. Raul asking about NT's a short. Yeah, sure. Whenever we get a big gap down, you got to just put it in a window and play it by ear with the market. But yeah, that's a sell setup, sure. Put it on the list. NRGV, we entered yesterday as a 1, 2, 3. Still holding, that's possible day trade long. Well, number one, Ty, I'm not going to fight the 4 horsemen. So, that's one consideration, unless something is what we call on its own page. Number 2, I can't tell where it's gapping. And number 3, I probably would have no interest unless it took out yesterday's high. But then it would be extended intraday. So I'm not even thinking about longs right now. I'm thinking about managing opens and just sitting back and observing, building a list of things. Lucy, I saw going by the ticker. Look at this recent IPO. Just devastated, and something's up today. It's gapping up, big old percent here. So let's keep an eye on Lucy. T2 here was on our list from yesterday. Not T2, I take that back. Twilio. So Twilio, I had posted a put spread over yesterday's high, and it's still good to go if it hits, because I don't think it will hit. Well, Alex, I think that's Lucy. I Love Lucy movie, Lucille Ball. All right, so Twilio I gave here. And here's another one I'm watching, Dunking. They have some deal with Disney. And do you remember I said on Tuesday and Wednesday, I said, I don't care about these 20 and 50 MA. I said, just take them off the chart, because this is a W pattern, nice gap up with a price void. So this, I gave this, but I'm going to tell them to hold off here because at the open. So I said over yesterday's high, let's sell a put spread, but let's hold off just because of the market. So let me tell them that. I'll trigger it manually. All right, so Dunking is a tier 1, looks fantastic so far. So I have it in a 5-minute window right here. And let's see what it does. But that's the best looking long counter trend to the market that I have in my interest list right now. I don't know what made me look at Restoration Warehouse, but this is also, I added this to my core watch list. That's a big old bottoming pattern. And look, here's another bullish 3-bar consolidation after a gap up. So I got flat 20, flat 50. If it can take out the week's high, looks fantastic. So we'll start off selling a put spread, and also going to keep an eye at this core long, maybe start nibbling Monday over the week's high. CNBC guy was talking about these two housing things, ITB. He was saying that ITB has like a bunch of these cell phone power things in them, which is, they've been strong, and that's kind of skewing it. But Look at XLRE real estate. Or maybe I'm saying it backwards. I don't know. But look at this thing. Now, see, this is not a high probability short just because it's down so much, unless it's just a day trade. I'm actually going to keep this on my list to see if we can get a breakdown failure. And this would be a W bottom, new low plus. Now, do I think that's going to happen with such down momentum, daily, weekly, monthly? No. But what's wrong with watching it for a day or two? This SMG, I've been watching this thing for 3 weeks on when it would make a turn. And it's very possible yesterday was the start, volume pickup. It started moving with marijuana. And, my only take is if the pot things are going to grow, then you need more fertilizer, right? Then it makes sense. This S I posted as a $25 short put over this 15-minute pivot. Now that I see it capping down, I seriously doubt it's going to hit. Therefore, I don't care. I'll leave it. Maybe 20. All right. A lift, I think, got a downgrade. And down a lot on support. So I went again Wednesday's session about news. This is a pattern I'd rather fade long if it sets up than shorting it. That's not a good short pattern. So if this were somehow able to trade above yesterday's high and negate the morning weakness and negate the down grade, then that's a swing trade, target 20 MA. But I have enough to look at. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, NVIDIA, I said we dodged a bullet yesterday. Well, we stopped out break even. But then I said, anything gapping under your stop, use 30-minute low. We did the 120s, so I'll be keeping an eye on it to enter a new trade at the right time. But that's my suggestion now. AMBC, I think, had something to do with earnings, and this is a W bottom, gapping up from a W. But see, the gap's too big. Gap's too big for me, so forget that. This IIPR is a marijuana REIT. We sold puts on that yesterday. Tilray had earnings this morning, holding well. There's not many marijuana stocks left. So many of them went out of business, but when we slow down, 10:30, 11, or 2:30 or 3, whatever, let's scan all of our marijuana stocks. And there's MJ. Another one is all right, IHI is gapping under the stop. That's another one. We're in trail mode, so use 5-minute low. This is a bio Greg found yesterday. I'm going to watch it for 1, 2, 3. Tilray had twice. Yeah, remember, yes, the last day or two, whatever, we had up alarms. Yeah, now I got down alarms going off. But I'm more concerned with playing defense on the put spreads, because Pike here, I think had earnings, but light volume. Because, you know, the majority of low alarms going off on our, here you go, here's a long, look at this beautiful thing, I think had earnings. 5-minute high, if it doesn't run too much, that's a bullish pattern. But I gotta do it anyway because of the market. All right, I'm in this TTD going against me. All right, that doesn't look good. I can't lie. We got $5 wide. Wow. Premiums are jacked. Let's wait. Yeah, they get the spreads are really bad here. So let's wait a few minutes on this. I'm not gonna bail right now. All right, VZ. You're getting on board a moving train, but it's ugly. It looks lower. Of the FANG department, Microsoft 15-minute pre-market's been in a free fall. Look, see the